Hi everyone, my name is Allison Qiang and I'm a clinical fellow at the GC Wellness Center. This Wellness Center video is on identifying, navigating, and coping with racial microaggressions in graduate school. In part one of this video, I went over some examples of how racial microaggressions might show up in different parts of graduate school, and now I will discuss how to navigate and cope with racial microaggressions. So I'll start by going over what makes it hard to respond when microaggressions occur. As I mentioned in the last video, microaggressions, by their unintentional and insidious nature, have a way of making recipients question their reality. You might have thoughts like, am I overreacting or am I being too sensitive? Or you might say to yourself, well, they didn't mean it like that. While it might be true that people's intentions are not to be harmful, the impact of their words or actions might be. That is to say, it's important to know that you're not overreacting. You might even notice signs in your body indicating that something is wrong or you're feeling a certain type of way about things. With that being said, how you choose to respond to microaggressions may vary. As mentioned, one of the hardest parts about addressing microaggressions is that they are often unintentional. If you point them out to the speaker, they might get defensive or further deny your experience. They might also feel excessively guilty and ask for your reassurance, resulting in even more cognitive effort on your part. Many people might also dismiss microaggressions as not being a big deal or too minor to warrant discussion. They might apologize half-heartedly to move on without recognizing or acknowledging the actual impact, which could be even more frustrating or upsetting. In addition, in graduate school environments where there are real power dynamics, there might even be consequences or repercussions for confronting the speaker. As a result, these are some questions you may want to consider before acting. Is my physical safety in danger? Do I have the capacity or energy to manage a potentially defensive or combative reaction? As graduate students, we all have a lot going on, and these interpersonal demands might result in further frustration, anger, or sadness. You might also consider your relationship with the person and wonder if the relationship will be impacted. If it's a close friend in your cohort, for example, who you trust to handle things sensitively, that might be a very different conversation from a professor or a faculty member where there is an inherent power dynamic. If the relationship is impacted, you might also question, will you be okay with that? Other things to consider include if I don't say anything or walk away, how will I feel? Does it shape my self-image or values if I don't respond? Ultimately, you can ask yourself, how much does this matter to me? If you decide to act, these are possible options for responding. You could stop the conversation by saying something like, can I stop you for a second? While microaggressions can be addressed in the moment, it often can be really hard to do so. You may need some time to process what just happened or think about what you would want to say. It's always okay to go back and discuss with someone. Even if it doesn't get addressed in the moment, it doesn't mean the conversation has to be over. You can also ask for clarification and approach with curiosity by saying something like, can you explain what you meant by that? Or you could point out factually what you noticed. As an example, I noticed you didn't express the same level of surprise when you asked others about their grades. Why is that? These types of questions get at the speaker's intent and hopefully invite some honest self-reflection about their words or actions. If you have the capacity or energy, and depending on your relationship with the person, you can also tell them about the impact of their words or express your feelings and perspective to them. You could say something along the lines of, I know you didn't mean it this way, but what you just said was harmful. It can be really hard to be the only POC in this cohort. In addition, you could request some sort of action like, I'd appreciate it if you said my name correctly. If you decide not to act or you are met with a defensive reaction, here are some ways to cope. You could talk to a trusted friend, family member, partner, or faculty member. My research advisor in my program talks about the importance of having a validity check in graduate school, or someone who you can turn to, ideally someone who also witnessed the event, and say, that was weird, right? And have your experience be affirmed. You can also practice self-care, whatever that might look like for you. Experiencing microaggressions and addressing them can be really exhausting, especially if people are defensive. And so be kind to yourself and prioritize your well-being. You can also take care of your body, hydrate, eat regularly, sleep, move around, or engage in activism resistance. There is research suggesting that activism efforts can feel empowering and help people connect to their values, and it can be useful for collective healing. You can also try relaxation exercises like meditation, yoga, or deep breathing, and relatedly engage in mindfulness and connect to the here and now. Some people also find it helpful to acknowledge and express their feelings through art, like journaling, writing a story, making music, creating a painting, etc. And also remembering to honor your strengths, including those that are rooted in your racial or ethnic identity. And now, kind of moving on to some considerations for bystanders. Bystanders play a really important role in addressing racial microaggressions. Consider your own positionality and privilege. For some, there might be fewer consequences or less emotional effort to address microaggressions. Gerald Wing Sue offers some suggestions for bystanders called microinterventions. These include making the invisible visible, or naming the microaggression and its underlying message so that it cannot operate subtly or ambiguously. As an example, pointing out when a professor has called someone by the wrong name or mispronounced someone's name. This can also be done at a later time after checking in with the recipient. Another intervention is to disarm the microaggression, to stop or redirect the conversation, express your disagreement, state your values, and set limits. You can also educate the offender by providing information that helps the person understand the impact or broader pattern, and this alleviates some of the stress or responsibility on the recipient. And lastly, you can seek external reinforcement or support by consulting mentors, diversity committees, or the Ombuds office. In addition to micro-interventions, there are also micro-affirmations, or things that we can all do to create a more inclusive and comfortable learning environment. So these are small, subtle, verbal, and nonverbal actions used to counteract racial microaggressions. As an example, being attentive and paying attention when someone speaks, being responsive, like nodding, smiling, making eye contact, and being warm, inviting someone to share their thoughts or asking for their opinions, making space for others to speak in class discussions or lab meetings, giving credit to others' ideas and recognizing their achievements, sharing resources, information, and opportunities when you hear of them, being intentional about pronouncing people's names correctly, and going beyond advice and mentorship, often advocating for people of color and connecting them to resources. Lastly, here are some additional resources to help you navigate and cope with racial microaggressions. At the Graduate Center, we provide both individual and group counseling, including several race-based affinity groups. We offer workshops, academic consultations, and we can also assist with referrals. In addition to this, I've listed some resources for connecting to other mental health care professionals. Many of these sites also have articles or videos related to identity and mental health. And there are also a few crisis hotlines that you can reach out to if you need immediate assistance or help. I hope that this video was helpful, and thank you so much for tuning in to this video series.